What is going on, everyone? This is a very special episode of Jabba where we take a look and preview the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs. I'm your host, Brendan Bryan. After a chaotic 26-race regular season, we have finally made it to the playoffs.
Playoffs?
16 drivers have qualified for the 10-race playoffs. Let's take a look at our contenders. But before we do that, let me divulge how my preseason predictions have held up after nearly 8 months of competition. I made these predictions in a video that didn't get published because senior year is hard. It's hard. It's real hard. So you'll just have to trust me, Scout's honor. To start off, how many playoff drivers did I get right? Well, you know the saying, C's get degrees. Because I got 12 of 16, which is a solid 75%. What a cracking start. Who are the drivers I left out? Josh Berry, Austin Dillon, Austin Cindric, and Bubba Wallace. So who did I have in their place? Chris Buescher, Ty Gibbs. I think many thought that they would make the playoffs. And then Kyle Busch. And
hold on to your butts.
Noah Gragson. In hindsight, not my best call. For my preseason playoff predictions, I had Kyle Busch, SVG, Ty Gibbs, and Noah Gragson being eliminated in the round of 16. I had Logano, Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, and Ross Chastain eliminated in the round of 12. Chris Buescher, Tyler Reddick, William Byron, and Kyle Larson eliminated in the round of 8. Making your final four Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott, and Alex Bowman?
Huh?
Yeah, don't question it. And then I had Blaney as my preseason champion. I also made some other preseason predictions too. Do you want to hear them? They've aged well. I said Bubba Wallace and AJ Allmendinger would play playoff spoiler and win. Not both bad calls because they can both still technically do that. I said that Hamlin would announce that 2026 would be his last season. Could still happen, but here's the big one. This is my piece of resistant preseason prediction for this season. My bold prediction. Kyle Busch would leave RCR for Trackhouse in 2026, replacing Daniel Suarez while being replaced at RCR by Austin Hill and Daniel Suarez going to Kaulig. Yeah, I had hope for Kyle Busch, but with all that nonsense out of the way, let's discuss the drivers who make up this playoff field. Let's begin with the last man in, Alex Bowman. After a hot finish to the 2024 season, many, including myself, thought this year would be a bit of a resurgence for the 48 team. And to start the season, it was, with winning pace and a close loss at Homestead. However, as the year progressed, performance tanked, and Bowman suddenly found himself on the cut line. But over the last couple months, Bowman seems to have returned to pretty decent form, and was able to point his way into the postseason. Bowman is tied for second most top 10s in the series, but his average finish is only 10th among playoff drivers, and 11th in the series. His other stats are also kind of middle of the road. He is on pace to improve most of his stats from the year before, but still lags behind in wins and average finish. This team is boom or bust that can easily make it to the round of 8 or implode in the round of 16. No, there is no way Austin Dillon made it to the playoffs without shenanigans. I refuse to believe it. Oh, wait, he actually won. And won well. This is a weird change of pace. Apparently, Austin Dillon is leagues better than anyone else at Richmond. Who knew? Dillon used to be a perennial playoff threat until in 2023 when this team fell off a cliff. Then 2024 happened. We do not speak of sins. But this year has been more of the same. But he is on pace to have his best season since 2022. He has already matched his stats from a year ago, with his average finish nearly improving 3 positions to a 20.0 flat, which is third worst among playoff drivers and 22nd best in the series. He also has the fewest amount of top 5s in the playoff field and tied for the fewest amount of top 10s.
However,
The round of 16 for Dillon lines up pretty well. As in the Gen 7 era of NASCAR, Dillon has consistently scored top 15s and some top 10s at these tracks. Man, he could actually make a run for the round of 12. He's not winning the title, is he? Regardless, Dillon has won more races and has more playoff appearances than Kyle Busch over the last 2 seasons. Tyler Reddick. Reddick? Hey, where is he? I thought he was supposed to be here. Oh wait, there he is. Limped yourself into the playoffs, did you? After winning the regular season title and making a Final Four appearance a year ago, I thought he would pick up right where he left off. Well, I was wrong. Currently, Reddick is on pace to have his worst season since his rookie campaign. Sometimes this team shows up mostly at the specialty tracks like road courses and super speedways, oddly enough. Sometimes this team shows up, sometimes they don't, and sometimes, especially recently, they just explode. He does have the 8th best average finish of the playoff drivers. However, that is still 2 whole positions worse than last year, going from a 13.2 to a 15.4. He is 11th best for top 10s and 9th best for top 5s in the playoff field. The first round also doesn't line up well for Reddick, as Bristol and Gateway have been fickle in the past, making Darlington almost a win-or-die race. Remember, Reddick struggled through the playoffs a year ago until the electric Homestead win. He was sort of carried by his playoff points, which he does not have this year. Looking a lot like 2023 to 2024 Martin Truex Jr., if you ask me. Reddick will be interesting to watch this postseason. How about Josh Berry? In only his 5th start with the Wood Brothers, he scored his first career win at Las Vegas on pure speed and talent, no gimmicks or hootenanny or anything. But since that win, this team has been boom or bust. Mostly, if not constantly, the latter, as fast cars come up short or run into trouble, or they just never show up for race day. Regardless, this team is entering the playoffs with back-to-back top 10s, and a round that favors Berry. He is really good at Darlington, and he should at least have top 15 speed at both Gateway and Bristol. However, this team is tied for having the fewest top 10s among playoff drivers, while also having the 2nd worst average finish, even worse than Austin Dillon. Ew. To his credit, Berry has already surpassed his stats from a year ago, and with his veteran driving style, could turn it on at the right time, or explode. No middle ground here. Joey Logano. What isn't there to say about you?
I am inevitable.
He is the defending champion and made the playoffs this year without controversy with his win at Texas. His stats indicate a mid-pack driver, but I will not be deceived again. This man has some uncanny witchcraft abilities to just wake up and win when he wants to. Similar to last season, he is not in the conversation for the title and remains under the radar. He will either exit in the round of 16 or win a title. Those are the only 2 possible outcomes. It is an odd number year, thank goodness, which bodes against him since those are the seasons he performs the worst. There's no need to go over his stats because they're not relevant. Playoff Joey Logano has awoken, similar to playoff Eli Manning. He just did enough to get here, and now he's just going to cause some chaos. Watermelon Ross Chastain has made it back to the playoffs after a 1-year hiatus. He made the postseason by winning his first crown jewel event, the Coca-Cola 600, through means of schnookery from William Byron. Outside of that, though, that's been about it. Chastain is currently on pace to have his worst season with Trackhouse Racing. His stats are down around the board, especially in laps led, average start, and average finish. He is tied for the 5th most top 10s, 8th most top 5s, 9th best average finish among playoff drivers, and how many laps did he lead again this year?
69, dudes!
He is just kind of stuck in the middle. The round of 16 favors Chastain, but after that, I don't know. This is not the Ross Chastain, the race wrecker world changer from 2022, and that is the driver who will need to show up to make a deep playoff run. Well, Austin Cindric finally approved, a little bit. Outside of sending Ty Dillon on a merry-go-round at COTA that cost Cindric 50 points in penalties, he has definitely been faster this year after a surprise round of 12 playoff run in 2024. His speed has been especially great at the super speedways, which have not really been too kind of him in the finishing category except for Talladega in the spring, which he won. He has led laps, shown speed, but is inconsistent in finishing races, similar to his factory teammate Josh Berry. Cindric is tied for the fewest top 10s, second fewest top 5s, and fourth worst average finish among playoff drivers. However, Cindric has never been eliminated in the round of 16, and this year's track lineup in that round really suits him. He is okay, but can he turn it on like his teammate Logano usually does in the playoffs? Well, it looked like another year where Bubba Wallace would come up short of the playoffs until it wasn't. Bubba's Indy 400 win is the first crown jewel of his career and his first win in the regular season. The win just kind of came out of nowhere, but since then he's been pretty good. Except for Daytona, he definitely didn't try to block 3 lanes of traffic with the side of his car. But hey, this is arguably the first time Bubba has ever exceeded expectations and has been better than his teammates. However, if you look into his stats, things might not be as well as they seem. Bubba's stats are generally on pace to exceed last year's and decent compared to the playoff field except for average finish, which has plummeted over 3 spots from a 15.3 to an 18.9. And speaking on that average finish, it is 13th compared to the rest of the playoff field. But there are some positives. Bubba has been banking hard this year on stage points, accumulating the 6th most in the series. Also, outside of Gateway, the round of 16 lines up well for Bubba. Not so much the round of 12, but Kansas, a race he has won, is in that round, so things could line up for Bubba to finally make a long-awaited deep playoff run. What a difference a year makes. Chase Briscoe, after carrying Stewart-Haas Racing on his back to relevance in 2024, got the opportunity of a lifetime to join the powerhouse team of Joe Gibbs Racing, replacing the retiring Martin Truex Jr. And well, he's performed up to expectations. He has already surpassed his career best in every statistical category. He has the 3rd best average finish, tied for the 2nd most top 5s, 4th most top 10s, and a series high 6 poles. Good grief, man. He has surpassed what Martin Truex Jr. did in this car last year and what his teammate Ty Gibbs has, ever done. There are no obvious weaknesses with this team except that even with a breakout season, he is still only the 3rd best team at Joe Gibbs Racing. And if Briscoe is going to make a title run, he's going to have to go through them. Also, his crew chief James Small is historically not very good in the playoffs, but if Briscoe knows how to do anything, it is how to carry a team on his back deep into the playoffs. Dawsonville's favorite son Chase Elliott returns to the postseason once more, and did it in similar fashion to 2024. This team has been the gold standard of consistency over the past 2 seasons, posting the best average finish each year. However, the one thing this team cannot do is win. Chase has only 2 wins over the past 3 seasons, which is the same amount as Austin Dillon.
Yep.
This team does boast some impressive stats, such as the previously mentioned best average finish, tied for the 4th most top 5s, tied for 3rd most top 10s, and 5th most laps led among the playoff drivers. This team has everything to win a title except for wins and playoff points, which they only have 13. In the current playoff format, if Chase is ever going to win another title, he is going to have to start having to win races again or come up short once more. When Shane Van Gisbergen announced he was going full-time in the Cup Series, I was excited. I figured he could challenge for a win or 2 on the road course and improve on the ovals and just have a solid year of building. That's not what happened.
Racing in Mexico City. And the first name on the trophy is Shane Van Gisbergen. It's a road course runaway. Shane Van Gisbergen dominates and wins Sonoma.
You are unbelievable, man.
Shane Van Gisbergen does own the streets of Chicago. He delivers once again.
SVG does it again, but a year on, he gets redemption and wins at Watkins Glen.
Gizstruction. Out of the 5 regular season road course races, He won four of them, and it wasn't even close. At Mexico, he won by over 16 seconds.
Oh, great Odin's Raven.
The largest margin of victory since 2009. Yeah, when it comes to road courses, he schooled the field. His 4 wins are tied for the most in the series, not to mention he also clinched Rookie of the Year in the process. However, at the ovals, he's been To start the year, he was rancid, putrid, repugnant. But similar to his Xfinity season a year ago, he has slowly climbed the leaderboard, claiming 3 top 19 finishes in his last 4 oval outings, including an impressive 14th at Richmond, where he competed for a top 10. With his 22 playoff points, his round of 16 is manageable. He finished 20th at Darlington in the spring and will have to step up his game at Bristol and Gateway to advance. But if he does advance the last road course of the season, the Roval provides a path for SVG to make it to the round of 8. And at that point, Talladega's in that round.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Let the rugby balls fly and the Gizstruction continue. Christopher Bell. The end of his 2024 was, well, not what he was looking for. After falling short of the Final Four, the feeling was that of an angry Bell that wanted vengeance and would lay waste to the field in pursuit of his first championship. And to be fair, it looked like that narrative was coming true, as Bell would win 3 races in a row early in the season. But since then...
Hey, where'd he go?
Okay, to be fair, he has remained very stout, and also picked up an All-Star win. Not bad. But not the world crusher he was to start the year. He leads the series in runner-up finishes, tied for 3rd most top 5s, 2nd most top 10s among playoff drivers, and the 2nd best average finish in the series. He is elite. The only round of the playoffs that may bother Bell is the round of 8, which includes Talladega, a wild card, and Martinsville, a track he is great or terrible at. It's just kind of a coin flip. He is one of the biggest title threats entering the playoffs, and if he makes it to Phoenix, don't be shocked if he wins it all. Ryan Blaney came up 1 spot short last year to claim his 2nd consecutive title. That stings, especially when it's to Joseph Logano. But to start off the season, this team had some serious speed. Too bad their engines were. This team quickly racked up 7 DNFs, which is tied for the most in the series. But when they did finish, they finished well. And as the team became more consistent over the summer, the results started to roll in, with 2 wins and rocketing to 2nd in the point standings. Blaney is the hottest driver entering the playoffs, currently sitting on a streak of 6 top 8 results. He is also tied for the 2nd most top 5s, 2nd most top 10s, 4th most laps led, and the 8th best average finish among the playoff drivers. All the rounds line up well for Blaney, and if he makes it to Phoenix, he will most definitely be a favorite again to win it all. Well, Denny Hamlin proved me wrong. Again. I thought Hamlin's 2025 would pick up where 2024 left off, but instead he returned to relevance.
I am the golden god of this place.
Hamlin has scored a series-high 4 wins across a diverse series of tracks. Martinsville, Darlington, Michigan, Dover. Anything that isn't a road course or a super speedway, the 11 team can win at. This is honestly the best Hamlin has looked since 2021. Just a constant threat. As previously stated, he is tied for the most wins, tied for the most top 5s, tied for the 3rd most top 10s, 3rd most laps led, and tied for the 4th best average finish among playoff drivers. The round of 16 is great for Hamlin. The rest of the rounds, however...
I'll get you, and I'll look like a bloody accident.
In the round of 12, New Hampshire and the Roval are okay for this team. And in the round of 8, he is good at Las Vegas, but not top 5 best at that track. Dega, ew. And Martinsville, he is one of the best there, and that may be his one and only shot. But if he can get to Phoenix, can he beat drivers like Bell, Blaney, and Larson, who are really good at that track?
I don't know.
For Hamlin, with all the stuff going on outside of the racetrack and his increasing age, this might be his last great shot to win a title. Though we seemingly say that every year, this year it actually might be true. One last crusade, one last dance, or one last great choke job. My fellow Eagle Scout William Byron continues to assert himself as one of, if not the top drivers in the series. For the first time in his career, he has won the regular season championship. Okay, just because only 3 of the 8 regular season champions have gone on to win the title doesn't mean that it is a bad omen for Byron, right? Byron started this year with a bang, winning the Daytona 500 for the 2nd time in a row. Three-peat anyone in 26? Byron has been competitive and consistent, but has let some wins slip away like the Spring Darlington race and the Coca-Cola 600. He also had a massive summer slump of 6 finishes of 24th or worse over a 10-race span, but he did enough to clinch the regular season title a week early. He is tied for the 3rd most top 5s, 3rd most top 10s, 4th best average finish, 2nd most stage wins, most laps led, most stage points this season, and tied for the most playoff points this season. This team is championship caliber. They have made the Final Four the last 2 seasons, but can they make it a 3rd? The last driver to do was Denny Hamlin in 2021, and since then no one has repeated this feat, with Christopher Bell and Chase Elliott coming up short. Can Byron break the trend and make another run for the title? Finally, we have Kyle Larson. He is arguably the most talented driver in NASCAR, if not the world. However, he came up short of the Final Four a year ago, and even though he started 2025 hot with 3 wins, since his 2nd attempt at the Indy 500 and Coca-Cola 600 double, he has 5 finishes of 28th or worse, 0 race wins, and only 1 stage win. Regardless, his stats are still some of the best in the series. Tied 2nd for the most wins, tied 1st for the most top 5s, has the most top 10s, 2nd most laps led, tied for the 4th best average finish, most stage wins, and tied for the most playoff points. This is a championship team that has historically either boomed or bust. Larson can win races in every round of the playoffs, but can he make it back to Phoenix and race for a 2nd title? He seems like such a sure pick each playoffs, but every year since 2021, his title year, that has not been the case. Well, those are your contenders for the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs. This is a very strong playoff field where I think you can make a case for every driver to at least advance to the round of 12. Yes, even Austin Dillon. Playoff points are more spread out this year. Usually there are a couple drivers with like 40 or more, but only 32 this year, with most of the drivers separated by only a handful of points. But there's only one way to find out what happens, and that is to race, so let's take a look at the tracks in the 2025 playoffs. The playoffs look a lot different from a year ago. In the round of 16, Watkins Glen and Atlanta have been moved out in favor for the Southern 500 at Darlington, Gateway, and the Bristol Night Race. The round of 12 sees Talladega replaced with New Hampshire, followed by Kansas and the Charlotte Roval. Then in the round of 8, we have Las Vegas, Talladega, which has replaced Miami, and Martinsville. Finally, the championship race returns to Phoenix. This is a really interesting schedule with a lot of diversity similar to a year ago, but it feels spread out pretty evenly. I really like Talladega in the round of 8 rather than the other rounds, because by that point in the playoffs, the pretenders have been shuffled out, and the chaos of Talladega will at least be among the best of the best and not Austin Dillon. I think with all that out of the way, it is finally time to make some playoff predictions.
Alrighty then.
I think the round of 16 really suits Team Penske, and all of them should make it through. The only worry I have for the 4 Hendrick Motorsports drivers in this round is Gateway, a track they have never been good at, which could put someone in trouble at Bristol, but they all should be fine as well. The Joe Gibbs racing cars shouldn't face problem this round. That leaves only a few drivers to discuss. I think you can make a case for everyone to make it, but 4 have to go. First off, I'm eliminating Austin Dillon and Josh Berry. Both of them can perform, but can they do it consistently? That's something we haven't seen from them all year. That just leaves us with Trackhouse and 2311. Look, I love Shane Van Gisbergen, and if this was his second or third year in Cup, I would have him advancing. But even though he is okay at Darlington and has 22 playoff points, his spring Bristol performance was abysmal. And I don't see that changing, and Gateway itself is also a wild card. Just too many unknowns. I'm eliminating SVG in the round of 16. That just leaves Reddick, Chastain, and Wallace. Every year, there is a shocking first round exit, whether it was Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, or Kevin Harvick. And I think that trend continues this year. With my hot take of the playoffs, I'm eliminating Tyler Reddick in the round of 16.
What?
I like Chastain in all 3 of these races. I like Bubba in 2 of them, but Reddick I only like Darlington, and that's a lot of eggs in one basket. The 2 previous regular season champions before Reddick, Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr., either missed the playoffs the following year or struggled and were eliminated in the round of 16. With Reddick already struggling into the playoffs this year, very similar to Martin Truex Jr., I just don't see him advancing. But also keep this on your radar. I think this is a trap round for Chase Elliott or Alex Bowman. And don't be shocked if Barry can find the pace and consistency to advance. Okay, the round of 12. This is where the pretenders are usually shuffled out, except if you're Joey Logano. I think this is a good round for Blaney, Bell, and Briscoe, and they'll easily advance. I think the competition is going to be too steep for Austin Cindric to overcome in this round. I also think this is a bad round for Bubba Wallace and Joey Logano, so I'm eliminating them both as well. That leaves only one left to be eliminated. I think Larson and Byron will advance with the help of their playoff points. This is also a good round for Elliott. I'm advancing him. Denny Hamlin should also have enough playoff points to advance. That just leaves Chastain and Bowman for the final spot. Chastain is okay to decent at all 3 of these tracks, which includes a win at Kansas last fall. Bowman is good at Kansas, great at the Roval, and subpar at New Hampshire. I think this is a more consistent round for Chastain, but Bowman is finally going to get redemption from last year and advance to the round of 8. Further, I think this is a trap round for Denny Hamlin. He's just kind of in general at these tracks, and don't be shocked if Chastain's consistent performance at these tracks advances him to the round of 8. Alright, we have made it to the round of 8, and the field is stacked. Every single one of them can advance. Talladega will play a big part in this, especially if Las Vegas goes poorly for someone. I really like the consistency from these 2 drivers, especially recently, but I think the road ends in the round of 8 for Alex Bowman and Chase Briscoe. This is a really good round for Ryan Blaney. I'm advancing him. I also think this is a really good round for Chase Elliott. He might not have the playoff points, but I like these tracks for him, especially Talladega. If he is going to win multiple races in a season for the first time since 2022, it's happening here, just like in 2022 at Talladega. That just leaves Bell, Byron, Larson, and Hamlin to fight over 2 spots. This might be Hamlin's last great opportunity for a title, but Talladega is not good for him, and he is not better than the other 3 drivers remaining at Las Vegas. He is one of the best at Martinsville, but he has never had a walk-off win there, so I'm eliminating Denny Hamlin. I like Larson for 2 of these 3 races, which is better than Bell and Byron, so I'm also taking Kyle Larson to advance, which he seems to do every other year now. So just like last year, the final spot in the final 4 will be decided between William Byron and Christopher Bell. I think Bell and Byron are pretty equal at Martinsville. Byron is better at Talladega, and Bell is better at Las Vegas. Will Bell be able to avenge 2024? I think he will. Not since Denny Hamlin has a driver made it to the Final Four 3 times in a row, and I don't see that changing. Byron will come up short and Bell will advance. Don't be shocked if Larson chokes this round away again and for Hamlin to finally break through and make it to the Final Four. That means your Final Four will be Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, and Christopher Bell. Anyone can win this race at Phoenix, but ultimately, I don't see the Hendrick cars of Larson and Elliott keeping up with Bell or Blaney, and that's who will decide this title. I think if there is a flurry of cautions late in this race, Bell wins the title, but traditionally this race usually goes green long, and that really benefits Ryan Blaney, who I think will avenge his so close charge in 2024 and win another title in 2025. That would be the 4th in a row for Team Penske, and there's 6 overall. I hate to hurt Bell like this, but someone has to take up Hamlin's mantle of choking when he's gone. Wow, that was a lot to go through. These playoffs are going to be a roller coaster and a very competitive one at that. No fluke winners in these playoffs. Everyone had to kick ass to get here, and now it is time to race. There you have it, everyone, a preview, overview, and predictions for the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs. I cannot wait for the playoffs to start. It is going to be a fun 10 weeks.
I'm so excited!
Let me know your playoff predictions in the comments down below. Thank you so much for listening to this special episode of Jawbo. I've been your host, Brendan Bryan, and I will see you all again next time.